cold Monday night at Stamford Bridge, Vish, but it didn't stop Chelsea winning 3-1 against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Initial thoughts, sir?
Initial thoughts, a strange game. I feel like half-time came at a bad time for Wolves because they equalised. They were then attacking right until the referee's whistle. And you thought, they've kind of come back into the game, because the thing about Wolves that always surprises you a bit is they've got ball players all over the park. And at the start of that first half, Chelsea were doing the running. And as soon as they got little breaks, suddenly Wolves were piling forward. Someone like Aït-Nouri was getting really advanced positions. Cunha was basically playing a bit of a free role. Strand Larsen was there, tugging on the defenders. And you're like, oh, hold on, they could really get something out of this. And then it was almost like at half-time, they collectively went, right, we'll start again. And they did, which was the problem. They just started from scratch, and then Chelsea's quality just showed out in the end.
It was comfortable for Chelsea, and it was just a tonic for them in that second half, because they needed 3 points. They haven't had a win in the league for a little bit. And to get to share the goals out a little bit, it was a shame for them that Jackson didn't score, but I thought he played well. And for a team who had to recall Trevor Chalobah as well due to injury concerns and so on, he comes in, is given man of the match, and you think, that's a lovely night for Chelsea. It really is. What did you make of young Trev coming back into the fold? It's big time, isn't it? Oh, you missed me, did you? He's man of the match. Have that.
Yeah, I would have a goal, but one of you's a little greedy so-and-so, isn't he? So can we start there? Because, you're a striker. Is that fair game? I was just to set the scene, cross comes in, Chalobah rises highest, they head at the back post. It's going in, slowly, but it's going in, and Noni Madueke stoops and absolutely Dave Nugents it. What did you think of that? Because I thought, just to give my very quick opinion, is I think if Madueke's in there, and there was another Chelsea player at the back post as well, I reckon Sarr goes to try and save that and claw it out. No, he might not get there, but he would attempt that. But because Madueke's there, he thinks, that's just a goal now, isn't it?
My initial thoughts were always Madueke offside. Because if that happens, it's an absolute sickener. It is an absolute sickener, but of course he wasn't offside and the goal was given. I think that you'd get the ball over the line. I really do. Right. I think... and also as well, Chalobah's a defender. Yeah, of course, everybody wants to score, but he'll be fine. In fact, he doesn't need him. I'll tell you what, Adarabioyo, was that his fourth goal this season? Oh, bloody hell! The way he finished his was like a striker. But yeah, I think defenders know that strikers or the forward players are there to provide the goals and all the rest of it. Now I know Madueke is not a striker; he's a wide forward, but yeah, I don't think he'll have any beef with that at all. I think if he'd have done that and it was Jackson that took the shot, Jackson might have been, come on mate, I haven't scored in a handful of games here. What's that about? But yeah, the goal was onside, and I think it was fair game because it is a team game ultimately. Vish, I try to remind you this every single time that I see photos of you playing sevens or eight-a-side and so on, but you don't listen. But there we are. But Chelsea, so it was a good goal, and Chalobah, getting man of the match. That is, if he comes back into the team, and it was it wasn't likely that Wolves were going to win this match. So it was a good game for him to come back. But if he comes back in, struggles a bit, and people go, no wonder why he was off at Palace, all that kind of thing. To come straight back in there, man of the match, it's like, bang, I'm back, baby.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think you summed it up there when we were talking about the goal, and you talked about it being a team game, because by all accounts, Trevoh Chalobah is a team man. So even the reaction to the goal, he was straight over there. He didn't care. He was straight over there to congratulate Madueke, chased him into the corner. You look at the reaction, Cobham, in midweek, all the photos of him back in training. Just, I appreciate, there's an element of stageness there, but it's clearly very popular. Technically good, really sound, and if you consider he's been on sale probably the last 2-3 windows, maybe. That he was there was potential move away at the start of 2024 that didn't materialise. He obviously was quote unquote in the bomb squad at Chelsea. He didn't go on the pre-season tour to the USA. He obviously gets that loan move to Palace, and actually, by all accounts, he didn't sound like he wanted to come back straight away when Chelsea essentially asked to use that clause in his initial deal that took him to Palace on loan.
And that's understandable as well. Like,
yeah, totally.
Nor should he want to sort of come back straight away, because he's thinking, right, well, I'm a player of Palace this season. That's what I'm going to do. You can't be too sort of fickle. I mean, for crying out loud, Vish. Even David Beckham said he didn't want to come back from Preston North End. So, that's totally understandable. And from again, it goes back into it. He's hang on a minute. I'm here 1 minute, then I'm going over there, then I've come back. Bang, man of the match. It's brilliant. Slots into defence with Tosin Adarabioyo, who himself had a good game and was among the goals. Bodes well for Chelsea. It's exactly what Maresca would have wanted.
Yeah. It's funny though when you watch them, because they're still, even after all this, and their brilliant start to the season before this dip, they're still a little bit basket casey as a football team. Like, the sight of Cole Palmer tonight, strolling around with the ball, kind of looking for options, huffing when he didn't get an option, just holding it on a bit longer, dribbling somewhere else. It was almost like he had his phone out trying to get better reception. Like, he was just going to all areas of the pitch to be like, someone move for me. But they got the job done. I thought the way they played today was really interesting. Obviously, it seems to be the done thing now that we just have fullbacks further forward in central areas as well. And Cucurella, he gets his goal, the Chelsea's second, to put them ahead in the second half. He gets that from being the furthest forward in the box, essentially. But then you also look at Dewsbury Hall, who, making his first Premier League start, seemed to have license to, right, if the ball's out wide, mate, you get in there. Because I suppose that makes sense, because if you've got if you've got your two wide men there, there's one with the ball, there's the other who you want at the back post, and your other forward player, Cole Palmer, is often close to the guy with the ball because he just always wants it back. So you need that extra body in the box. And I thought Dewsbury Hall did that really well. And I thought generally he acquitted himself pretty well.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was impressed with him tonight. I was impressed. There was a number of good Chelsea performances. It's funny what you were just saying there about Cole Palmer. Like, imagine if Cole Palmer had stayed at Man City. We wouldn't really know the proper Cole Palmer, I don't think. Because him kind of, as you say, huffing and puffing a bit like, oh, come on, somebody move for me. All that kind of stuff. That's him. Taking penalties. He wouldn't be taking them at Man City, or doing all the stuff. I'm so glad that he went to Chelsea. I know that sounds a bit old hat sort of talking about that. But yeah, I whenever he plays football, he's such an eye-catching player. Even if he's not among the goals or the assists, he's such an important player in that side. But going back to the defence, I mean, we nearly had three defenders on the score sheet, as you say, if it wasn't for Noni Madueke. But Tosin Adarabioyo, I mean, he was like, in the first half, the way he played, a very elegant defender. Really, really nice. How have you rated him going to Chelsea? Because, of course, he was at Fulham and I saw him a fair bit, and I thought that he might well go to a bigger side, if I'm honest. But he's gone to Chelsea and seems to have acquitted himself fairly well. Well, there's a bit of competition back there, but I think he's beginning to nail down that starting position. Yeah. He's been... his kind of size belies his technical ability, doesn't it? I remember when he went on loan to Blackburn Rovers. Good touch for a big man. There is a bit of that, isn't there? Surprisingly... Well, I mean, you kind of just associate someone of his stature and in his position to be more of a bruiser. I suppose, good touch for a big man, it's generally, we're generally talking about strikers, aren't we? But yeah, as I was saying, I remember when he went on loan to Blackburn from Man City, and I remember talking to a mate of mine who watches Blackburn every week, and he was like, oh, he's a lovely player, but he's hollow because he gets barged around by Championship players, and I don't really get it. He was obviously very young when he went on loan. Doesn't like it up him. It didn't quite say it like that, but that was the kind of intimation. Footballing sense. Yes, I know, but that was the intimation. Yeah, that you could, if you were a burly, journeyman striker, who was kind of set in your ways and
had a couple of tools that have served you well all these years, those tools would be effective against someone like him. But I don't know, he's just, he seems to have found a level of comfort in the Premier League that speaks to being assured on the ball and positionally aware. And at the same time, there were a couple of hairy moments for that defence.
There was. They weren't perfect at the back, but I think
not
there was
at all.
some decent displays, no doubt. I mean, Adarabowo, he's a Man City Academy graduate. Nice to use the word graduate there. But he threw his hat in the air when he graduated. But that's where the ball playing stuff and the elegance and all the rest of it comes from. Really, I mean, I know other academics can do it, but you expect that from them. He was there for a long time, for a number of years, and would have been there actually through a lot of changes at that football club. And as I say, makes a permanent move to Fulham and was very good for Fulham. And it was a shame that Fulham sold him. But going to Chelsea, I hope he's not one of those players who goes to the big club and then doesn't play. But he's beginning to get more starts now, and he's as I say, we're seeing more of him. So I'm pleased for Tosin making that move, and it's kind of working out, which is lovely to see. Also nice to see Reece James again. I know it's he's played a few games, but again, he is such a Rolls Royce of a player, and if he can, and I've full confidence that he can. But if he can get back to Reece James before injuries, he'll be one of the best fullbacks in the world. Yeah, and it's important that he is coming back into this Chelsea team when. I was going to say the fixtures are easing a little bit, but they're not really. They've got Man City on the weekend. But, when they gave him the captaincy a couple of seasons ago, it was done with the understanding that, look, you're only really going to get 75 minutes out of him at a time. And they had a bit of a luxury today that they've not had in recent weeks where, they were able to bring on Axel Disasi for him before the end of the game, just to, I suppose, save him for the weekend. But, you kind of hope there's a stage beyond where he is now where he has enough time to, I suppose, quote unquote, fully overcome these injuries, because I suppose you never truly do you? Footballers always carry some kind of ailment as they go on. But you kind of want him uninhibited, don't you? And there are a few times today, actually, where beyond the stuff on the ball, he was putting his body about, and that speaks of a level of trust in his knees, his hamstrings, whatever else, that he can take the blows of being a physical defender as well, which, as you say, is a lovely touch for all involved. And you kind of hope he's back, provided he doesn't get injuries and that weird period he went through where he kept getting sent off. If you can cut those two out, brilliant. That was strange. Yeah, he even managed to get sent off for England a few years ago as well. But I tell you what, though, Vish, he's going to be dynamite at the 2026 World Cup under Thomas Tuchel, isn't he? Come on! Hey, that's what we're all leading to.
That's what we're here for. That's what people are tuning in for on a Monday night.
Of course it is. Got a cold Monday night. I'll warm your cockles, everybody.